Edward here from the infamous crypto viewing group. Gotta give a plug for the team. Link will be below, and we got a ton of work, just so much work we've done and continue to do. We have a huge database of remote viewing work from the past couple of years, and check it out. I'll have the link below. And that's where the majority of my time has gone. That's why I haven't put up anything video-wise in probably months. I just haven't. That hasn't not been my focus to doing this, because I've been putting my efforts into what we're doing on the crypto viewing side, and that takes a lot of my time and energy, which is limited. But I just had the inspiration to do a retrospective and go back and kind of go through some of these quickly. You just kind of zip through them because it's such a progression of work. This was the first one here, the first remote viewing video that I put up.
Stop waiting.
You get past the commercial here. And this is going to be embarrassing. (2012).
Hi, my name is Edward Riordan, and I love remote viewing. And I love teaching remote viewing. So I've developed this...
That's freaking hysterical. August 11, 2012. And I put up remote viewing examples. I did a session, blind session. The idea here was, was to do a demonstration of this, of 4 stages. At the time here, I was still working with TRV, technical remote viewing, which is not a good system. But I was also in the process of switching over to CRV, controlled remote viewing here, because when I moved here to Austin in 2011, I started up the Austin Remote Viewers Meetup group, and I met a bunch of people. And this turned out that Austin was a big remote viewing town at the time, and a big into CRV, controlled remote viewing, from Ingo Swann style, because Paul Smith lived here at the time, and he did shared a lot of that with his people out here. So I was in the process of switching over to CRV, but I wanted to put these demo videos out, like to see what I could possibly do to kind of get my name out there more, because I had been just hammering away at remote viewing for the previous 12 years. And so I did these ones here. And then through setting up the Austin Remote Viewers Meetup group, I came in contact with a fellow named Jerry Hearthcock. And he was the one who, he came to one of the meetup groups, and he asked if I would be willing to remote view some targets for him, and he paid me. And he videotaped them. And that's what started the whole thing. Were these here? Well, actually, this was the first one here, a moon anomaly session. That was in 2012. And then we did where is it? The Baltic Sea anomaly one, which is up here somewhere. And we posted those. So a lot of these were anomalous kind of stuff, you know, UFOs, and this was probably one of my favorites here. Was this was a technology target, IBM's 12-atom memory chip, or memory cell, actually. But the questions that he had in there were beyond what was known. So that's where we were going, or where the objective of my remote viewing was to obtain information that was not known. And that was really great. So then we did this one here, the genetic disc. That was a cool session there. So then in the midst of all this is when I started to kind of want to do more exploratory stuff. So this is when the exploratory stuff began. I wanted to do a series of sessions that were specifically based on certain things. People. I wanted to remote view people because I wanted to learn through the process how I remote viewed people more. So I did a bunch of them. And then things like this, Resolute Disk, a couple more sessions with Jerry here, some kind of alien stuff. This was another great one. IBM's nanotube transistor. Oh man, these were great. These were great. Another Places, Mecca. There's another tech one. IBM's nanophotonics technology. These were great. And look at it, 800 views. 800 views they got. Another Place, Ellis Island. These were, as I was just going through, how do I remote view places? How do I remote view things? How do I remote view people? This is where I was at the time. So I set up experiments specifically for those things. This is with Jerry. We did Phobos. Oh, that was a cool one. Phobos, the moon of Mars. That was a cool one. Delta. This is kind of anomalous, kind of alien stuff. Apollo moon thing. Here's Baltic Sea anomaly. These were with Jerry. And I did this one here, the JFK assassination. These were getting some pretty good hits here. These ones. But just regular, a lot of this is just regular, describe the target type of remote viewing. This one was cool. Wilhelm Reich's Cloudbuster. This was a really cool session here. Interestingly enough, Wilhelm Reich, for anybody who knows him, who created the Cloudbusters and all that, and described something called orgone, we actually have here in our possession from my wife's father, an actual orgone box made by Wilhelm Reich, and it's stamped, it's numbered from I think the 1940s, and it's for sale, by the way. Some more stuff here. International Remote Viewing Space Station. That was a cool session. Trailer. Then I got again more into the exploratory stuff. Stage 1 Revisited. I had some new ideas about Stage 1 and the ideogram. It was really the importance of it, because I was feeling that the importance of what the ideogram was and represented was not being acknowledged enough. And there were even some camps who were even contemplating that maybe it was useless and maybe even not needed so much. And I had those debates going on in my mind, so I had to explore it for myself. I think the ideogram process, or what it represents in the autonomic nervous system, is very, very important, and which I explored later on down the line. Easter Island statues. This is CERN, the Large Hadron Collider. That was a cool session there. Again, these were location targets. Seed Cathedral, University of Florida. This is with Jerry. We did the ISON, which was a comet, I believe. Those were really cool sessions. My lack of fusion session here. This was a very important session. I was obsessively reading Ingo Swann's book on ESP. And in the book, he talks about a phenomena called lack of fusion. And what he was describing in that is when the viewer is getting pieces of the target, but they're just not, the viewer doesn't know how to put them together. There's a lack, they're not fusing together properly, so therefore lack of fusion. Other people call it other things, but in my opinion, lack of fusion really, really describes what is taking place. And you can see it here. I got all these pieces, but I don't know how to put them together. It was a perfect example of lack of fusion. I was really excited. That was one, like here, let me see when that was. That was in December of 2013. And it really kind of, I wanted to capture more of this kind of phenomena. This type of stuff is what I was really going after. The stuff that you maybe hear about or maybe briefly read over, but not really contemplate too much. Those were the things that really stuck out to me, and I wanted to explore them, and I wanted to capture them on video. This was, oh yeah, this was the Comet ISON one. This was cool. This was some feedback here from the Comet ISON one. That was cool. That was kind of anomalous. Man, there was some little woo-woo stuff there, but cool stuff. More location stuff. My artwork. Oh, I think, oh, this is what I was doing in there. I was experimenting with doing art, painting. I would have the target reference number, blind to the target, and I would paint intuitively, and then do the session. See if that brought me into a better part of my brain that was more conducive to remote viewing, and it did. It did. It wasn't something that I felt I had to do all the time, but it was a cool thing to experiment with. And here again, I was just going deep into the exploratory stuff. This is in January of 14, where I was really getting more into the exploratory stuff. Remote viewing misses, the attractors, and art. So attractors means that I was, again, I was going through and really trying to wrap my head around some of these anomalies that would take place in a session, like an attractor or something that would pull my attention here, pull my attention there. And I captured this on here. So I'm talking about misses, when you miss the attractors, and then also the artwork stuff. So I was going more into the exploratory phrases on these. Stabilization, exploration, and art. Stabilization meaning that I was working with how the quote-unquote signal or the input was becoming destabilized at the threshold of my awareness, and I wanted to just go and hang out there and examine and document how I was going through periods of stable and destabilized interpretation of the input. That was a cool one there. This is what I was going. I was just going deeper and deeper and deeper into the exploration, exploring and enjoying my journey with remote viewing. Yeah, that was just like, I just love it. All right, here is when I got into using the dry erase board. So this was February of 2014. This was from seeing a video with Dick Allgaier and the guys from the HRVG team who were using a whiteboard, and that really, I found that to be, I loved it. I loved that idea because I wasn't confined to a chair. I could move around. I could be more animated, which is what I wanted to do, was to see how my experience would be with the remote viewing experience if I would give myself more freedom to be more animated, not confined to a chair. I could move around, move my arms, do all kinds of stuff, get my body more involved. And so I started doing a bunch of examples and working a bunch of targets doing that, and it was just very freeing. I really enjoyed it. This was a very cool. INAX is a nonprofit organization here in Austin that they look at all kinds of esoteric things, and they had an office, and they allowed me to do my Austin Remote Viewers Meetup group at their offices, and so for 4 years I hosted the Austin Remote Viewers Meetup group at the INAX offices. 1 to 2, 1 day a week, sometime, and then for a while we were doing, I think, twice a week, and then I sort of kind of backing off, but for 4 years. So anyway, he contacted me and asked me if I wanted to do a target, and I said, yeah, man, let's do it. Turned out that the target was this image that had popped up on Google Maps that gave the impression like it was some kind of a underground temple or something like that. So the big buzz at the time was that it was a big alien underwater base, and so anyway, that was the target. So we videotaped it and all that, and in the session, I'm going through a tunnel, and it was underwater, and there was algae and things there, but not an underwater alien UFO, not a gigantic underwater alien base. Sorry. But it wasn't there. But I got a lot of attention on it. Like 10,000. This is what was starting to really upset me, because I got 10,000 views on this alien base one, right? I got 250 views on stabilization, 278 views on the attractors. Got a couple extra views on this one. But the point being, the thing that was upsetting me was that these were deep dive exploration stuff into the realms of human perceptual capabilities and the exploration of that. Nobody really seemed to care. But if I put UFO in the title, people would go nuts. And that really, really pissed me off. It still pisses me off. I'm not as pissed about it as I used to be, but it does upset me what people, it just showed me that people want to be entertained more than they're interested in human capabilities, what we're capable of doing. And in my opinion, remote viewing or describing a location is nothing, man. That's training wheels stuff for what I feel we are capable of, which is way, way, way more than that. And it just seemed to me like nobody cared. They just want to tell me about the UFOs, tell me about the aliens, man. And you know what? Fuck the aliens. Fuck the UFOs. It's 99% bullshit. Sorry. All right, so then, this was a cool one here. My buddy Dustin Newcomb, he got, he had some passes for this place here in Austin called Headway Health. It was where you can go and you hook up these machines to your head, and it just gives you some readouts of what's taking place brainwave wise. We had this idea of I wanted to go and get hooked up to that machine and do a session and see if there was any difference that I could perceive in the session while I was on that machine. And so he reached out to the guy and he said, yeah, okay, that's fine. And he let us come in and we filmed it. It was really cool. I had these things on my head. Hang on a second, let me see the funny parts at the end.
Edward here from erviewer.com. I have a new video for you. This is the...
Here.
Hey, so check...
Hang on a second. Let me get through this stupid commercial. Hang on one second. Personal inclemencies, the electrodes on my head. That was pretty cool. The target was the Hindenburg catastrophe. And what I was going through in this session, I loved the session. It was a machine that was creating a specific kind of gas that was filling up an area. And later, after learning about the Hindenburg and how it had machines in there that they were, I believe, was it helium? Was it helium? Generating machines inside of the blimp. So they were converting gas into that specific kind of gas, and that's what I was into. I was freaking awesome. So that was Dustin's target. There's more Dustin stuff. Me and Dustin started doing a little more work where he would select the targets and I would do them. This was Antarctica. This image off of Google Maps of Antarctica, and to see what kind of was down there. Again, thousands and thousands of views, UFO, thousands of views. But it was a cool session. Sensitive target here. This one was, I had gotten a target off of a website, random, a website that had targets for viewers, practice targets or whatever. Turned out that this was a missing persons case. And so once I got the I clicked on the thing and I got the feedback, and it was a cold case for a missing person. And I wanted to put it up there because I don't know if maybe some of the stuff in there might be of interest to the people involved. So I called it a sensitive target. I didn't want to put the person's name in there or anything like that. I wanted to keep it kind of private. Back to the exploration, stimulus, threshold, and the experience. This is where I was, man. This is all about it. Stimulus, perception, overlay, and infinity. Yeah, man. Stimulus 3.0, finding the signal and attribute. I think I did a tribute to Jerry because he's my buddy. Finding the signal. This is where I was obsessed with the threshold. I still am. The threshold of my awareness, where that input would be going in and above and below the threshold of my awareness. That's where I was, and so I was obsessively working on that. 500 views, 300 views, but when I put in this title, how does it work? Oh, look at that, 7,000 views. Everybody likes that, but God, people were missing all the good stuff. I just had to say, yeah, that's just where people are at. My work will live on, and maybe in 20 or 40 years, people will find this important. More explorers, signal to noise. What is it? See, the thing about these is that I would go into these sessions with these things that I wanted to experience. And I would go into the session, and then I would experience them. And then I would be able to capture these things in action against blind targets. And that's why, to me, they were so important. Teresa, first she reached out. She had some targets, a target or something she asked me to work, and I videotaped it, and it was a cool one. Come on, feel the noise, I called this one. This was a desert target with the cactus, and here's the cactus thing. Come on, feel the noise, because the points on the cactus and all that. But also, what I was doing in these is I was going through and I was commenting on everything that I was experiencing during the session. So I would have these little blurbs in there of this is exactly what was happening to me at the time. And this was because I was doing this because this is exactly what I wished someone would have done. And nobody did. So I had to do it. And so I did it. So I did it for myself, and I did it for you. And that's what's up here. Only got 400 views. How about that? That sounds freaking believable to me. But more targets from Teresa that I worked, and I videotaped them all, put them up. Here, when is this from? February of 2015. If it's real, you can feel it. And that's exactly true. And what was happening here in this time was I was going through these ideas of some of the belief systems that I wanted to challenge that were out there in the remote viewing space. Like the viewer cannot tell if they are or are not on target, that remote viewing is not an experience. It's all these different limiting things, and I was taking all of those and I was just throwing them all into the fire pit to get rid of them, because I didn't want anyone's beliefs or opinions or limitations about that they had about remote viewing that were based on their experiences. I didn't want to be influenced by any of that, so I was throwing all that stuff out. This was years of unlearning, and I was putting it all on video. If it's real, you can feel it. Absolutely, you can feel it. It has a quality. I went in and I had to explore and find and capture on video what I will term the qualities of actual remote viewing. There's another project with Jerry, 67p Comet. We want to check that out, see what was going on there. That was a very interesting session. 67p, very odd looking space object that we explored. Remote viewing, threshold of awareness and subliminal barrier explored. That's still my obsession, is the threshold of awareness and the subliminal barrier. In fact, up on my board here, I have my chart here for breaking through the threshold, and so I have it broken down into how many hours that I put up a list of time frames or time ranges that I wanted to break through in a session, meaning how much time I would actually be in session. So I had the 0 to 1 hours, and I hit that. 1 to 2 hours, done, I did that. 2 to 3 hours, done. 3 to 4 hours, which I termed breakthrough range, and I hit that. And then 4 to 5 hours, and I hit that too. 4 to 5 hours meaning being in a remote viewing session for 4 to 5 hours. And that's what I call an immersion, the immersion experience, which is what I wanted to explore. And that's nothing, because what I want to explore in immersion sessions is 3 to 4 days or more, probably not more than 4, maybe 5 days immersed in a target. And Jerry and I worked. I was able to do some experimentation with that with Jerry one time, where in a 23-hour period, I think I remote viewed 13 hours. 13 hours of remote viewing in a span of, I think, 23 hours. But that was just an experiment. What I'm talking about is being in the space, dedicated space, no worries of time, no obligations to remove all the clocks and all that kind of stuff. And I'll do that. It's coming, because it's all just beginning, folks.